I wonder if you can talk with us a little bit about your journey and AJ and why we're here today.
Okay, well, AJ is our miracle baby. He's our only child, and he's been a blessing since he arrived in January. But unfortunately, in September, we started noticing changes. He was getting tired. He wasn't taking as much food. Then, the sickness really started to show. He started to throw up and get weak. And even, people have remarked that he looked pale. So eventually things came to a head and we took him to the ER. And that's when we got the news that our baby was diagnosed with a very rare form of leukemia. And leukemia in infants is rare in itself. Only about 160 cases are reported in the United States per year. And, and then his form of leukemia is a rare form of leukemia. And that is also combined with a bilineal form. He also has a form of lymphoma to go along with his leukemia. And so we have been in the hospital since that time. It's been, about 6 weeks now? Mm-hmm. And every day, we go in and just try to be there for him. We've sort of turned our trust over to the doctors, mm-hmm. who are doing their very best. And, but we wanted to try to increase AJ's chances of finding a donor, because we were told that he would definitely need one. Mm-hmm. And we looked up the statistics that Filipinos like us, mm-hmm. are only about 40% likely currently, mm-hmm. to find a perfect match in the National Bone Marrow Registry. Mm-hmm. So that's 40% isn't nearly high enough. I mean, anything less than a certainty, of course, would probably not be considered high enough. Mm-hmm. But we needed to do our best to increase his odds. So I made a plea on Facebook, because mm-hmm. I felt like there was nothing else at that point for me to do other than that. So I made a plea asking for Filipinos in particular to sign up with bethematch.org, which is the Bone Marrow Donor Registry's website, just to increase the number of Filipinos in the registry. It's because the more Filipinos that register, the higher AJ's chances get mm-hmm. of finding a match. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say it's only for Filipinos, because other ethnic minorities or other races, it's always possible that the match might come from outside mm-hmm. Outside mm-hmm. of the Filipino race. It's just more likely the best odds come from the Filipino race. Mm-hmm. But so we've been working with the Asian American Donor Program, who's also working with bethematch.org, mm-hmm. to basically encourage people to sign up and be part of the cure, because by signing up, you're not only potentially helping our son, but there are thousands of people who are searching for a donor worldwide. Mm-hmm. And those people might also find a donor thanks to this effort. And, that might be the good that comes out of this terrible situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I so appreciate hearing you tell us that story, and to get to know the two of you and AJ a little bit better. And I noticed that when we came in the prep, you acknowledged that. Can you tell us a little bit about your actual location right now? I think for folks joining us in the Facebook Live and in the Zoom, the rest of us have fun pretend creative backgrounds or other backgrounds, but you all have very real backgrounds. Can you talk a little bit about where you are and what's going on?
We are in the parking lot of the hospital where AJ is being treated. Unfortunately, due to COVID restrictions, only one of us can go up to be with him at a time, in most circumstances. So the only place that me and Maria can be together is either the lobby of the hospital, which offers no privacy, or here in the parking garage in our car.
So we can switch when we can, each one of us can go up and be with AJ. But yes, this is where we would normally switch and spend our time if we did need to, have the moment to talk and really discuss, how AJ's doing, and so we just take turns. But we're here all day, pretty much most of the night, and we just spend our time here with him.
And you said that he went into the hospital in September, so you all have been doing this in September?
Actually, we noticed the symptoms in September, but he went into the hospital on the 6th of October.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So his symptoms, it happened really quickly. It was just about a week and a half, you would say, when he was showing signs of refusing, bottles and starting to feel fatigue, and his heart, his breathing was a little bit
very fast.
Yeah. So that's when we, like Eric mentioned, that's when we, took him to the ER, and on the 6th of October.
Okay.
And so we've been here since then.
Yeah. And I just I just want to send a lot of love and just appreciate, I had a family member in the hospital earlier this year, and I just know, like, the COVID part, just all the folks who are dealing with COVID, and then to be a non-COVID patient, and to try to be connected to that patient and be connected to that family member. I just want to extend a lot of love to both of you, because I in my own limited experience, I feel that. So I just want to say, like, if I could wrap my arms around you right now, I totally would, and just to hold you up, because it's that extra part. It's not just the love that you have for your son, but like the extra layer. So I just want to honor that you're in that, and just appreciate that, Eric, it was your original plea to get Filipinos involved, to extend the number of folks who are in this registry, that I think is super important right now. And we definitely want to encourage folks who are watching us today, online here in our Zoom chat or on our Facebook Live group, or maybe later in the replay. Like, we're going to get a chance to hear more from other folks later about how to actually sign up. But just to really center, I wonder if you could tell us, like, as you think about AJ, and I know he just changed symptoms in October, but when new babies come home, you get lots of little different pieces. And I wonder, like, I'm guessing you love him all the alls, but I'm wondering, like, is there any, like, special bit about AJ that you want to share with us that would also allow us to continue to open our hearts to him and just know him a little bit better? Like, is he a funny baby? Is he I don't know. I've never had a baby, so I'm also curious. It's like, oh no, like, what did you guys get?
He is basically in love with people. Like, when he's like, unfortunately this year it's been kind of a rough year that he doesn't get to see many people. It's mostly been me and Maria, but on those occasions when he sees other faces, he always just lights up and wants to smile for that person and basically charm them.
Super happy, always smiling and just laughing. He just loves people, and even even with COVID, we were really doing a lot of social distancing. Unfortunately, he didn't get a chance to really spend time, or for us to even enjoy, for our family members to enjoy him as much as we would like for them. But when he did see them, we would kind of go to the park and stay 6 feet apart. He was super excited to see people. He was just really happy. Just loved to play. It was just, he was 9 months last month, and he actually just turned 10 months this week.
Just a few days ago,
Oh, happy 9 months, AJ. Yay. That's so, I imagine, I appreciate you sharing more with us about him, because I think sometimes people, that's what we want to, how we can also connect is to remember, to remind ourselves, like, it is about that baby who is social, who wants to connect to people, who's at the beginning of his adventure of life. And it just sounds like he's so lucky to have you all as his parents and to have this opportunity to receive potential a match from somebody else. So you know, that's kind of, I'm really appreciative that we get to be here today, so that AJ can continue to grow and thrive and be a people person. Like that's
right.
For
you know,
sure.
yeah. I'm wondering in this last minute or so, I know you all are going to have to go back and do your shifts to go and see AJ. Anything else you want to share with us about this process, about your family, or anything else you want to say directly to some of the SoCal Filipinos or any of our folks who are going to watch in the rebroadcast?
What can I say?
Yeah.
But you know, this baby is basically everything that we've always hoped that we would have.
Mm-hmm.
And to have this fear that he's going to be taken from us is really hard. So please help him. Please sign up to be a donor. And if you get that call, no matter who it is, it may be AJ, it may be someone else, but no matter who calls, they need you. Please answer their call and commit to going through with the donation, even though it's a very difficult year and a difficult time. But help them. They need it more than ever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It is a year, but this is a way people can give. And I just hold space for you, send so much love and light to you, Eric and Maria, and just, it is this time, right? This is the moment where what it means to be human, even in these separated times, feels even more important. And I just so appreciate that the two of you took this time away from AJ today to talk to us, to help us put out this call and to remind people that you as a person actually can make a deep difference in the life of little AJ, in the life of Eric and Maria, in the life of all of the folks that their family touches. And if not for this family, then for other families as well, who are also waiting. And I so appreciate you taking this time with us. And I really, I feel like I just want to send out all the good intention and prayer to the universe that today efforts like this is going to help AJ find a match, so that we can continue to support this miracle in your life and this joy and this hope. And we just want to, and I'm just going to say on behalf of SoCal Filipinos, like I know that part of the reason they wanted to do this is they want to also support you and AJ. And so we're so grateful that you were here today.
Thank you. And we really do want to express our gratitude to the Filipino communities, everyone out there who have, already requested for their kits and have submitted.
And the response has been incredible. So please, let's keep this going,
because there's so many people who also need a donor. There's so many people. It's just unbelievable. So it's just really, we're glad to be here. We're happy. Thank you for this opportunity to share and kind of really, the awareness that we are showing and extending to the rest of the communities, whether, SoCal Filipinos. Thank you again for having us here.
Yes.
So our pleasure. And if you're just joining us on Facebook Live or in the rebroadcast, we're just going to send this last breath of love and light to Eric and Maria, AJ's family. They're about to go back and see AJ. Thank you so much for finding the space together in your car at the hospital to talk to us today. So much love.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you again.
Okay. You too. So we want to say thank you again to Eric and Maria, AJ's family. If you're just joining us, we're so glad to have you join us today as part of this SoCal Filipinos and Be the Match event to learn more about AJ and the process of signing up to be a part of this bone marrow registry. And we just really want to encourage, like we heard Eric say, the more people who sign up, particularly more Filipinos, it increases the number of folks who are able to be scanned and figure out if folks are a match. And I hear from Felly Parker in the chat today in the Zoom room that their family of 5 is signing up to be in the marrow registry. So we're so excited. Yay, family of 5. And I think this is one of those moments where us as Filipinos and our instincts around family connection, our connections to each other, to community, this is a great way for us to activate that right now and create a difference in someone's life. So we're so excited that folks are signing up today. And there's so many more folks in our Filipino American community here in Southern California and throughout the world who are looking and in need of a match. And if you want to join that registry already, you can go to join.bethematch.org/cure, CUREAJ. So that's a direct way to sign up for sure to support AJ and his family. But there's also lots of other folks who are in need of a match. So I want to bring into our conversation one of my friends in the community from Be The Match. I want to welcome Chen to the conversation today. Hey, Chris, thanks so much for being here.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's so great to be here. Truly just inspired to help as many people as possible. Just hearing AJ's parents and their stories, it really just kind of brought me down to, this is why we do the things that we do. It's really help the community and help as many people as possible. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have that I have to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, me too. And I know that I was thinking actually maybe around this time last year, there was a Be The Match walk or an 8-3M walk. I think I saw you at. So I was just thinking like it's fall, it's that time to celebrate and connect. I wonder, can you tell folks out there who may not know to tell us a little bit more about the Be The Match program? Sure. How that works and what it is.
Yeah, definitely. So Be The Match is a nonprofit organization that oversees the National Marrow Donor Program here in the United States. As AJ and his parents are in Northern California, they're working with the Asian American Donor Program. I myself here in Southern California am part of an organization called Asians for Miracle Marrow Matches, A3M for short. And what we do is we encourage people to join the registry. And essentially, if people are, if they come up as a match, we ask that they be willing to donate either stem cells or bone marrow to help patients that are in need. We work with patients like AJ and just provide this community activation. Essentially, with our statistics, it shows that one person every 3 minutes is diagnosed with a blood cancer or blood disorder. And a typical cure for them would be either a stem cell transplant or a bone marrow transplant. So yeah, as AJ's parents mentioned, the chances of them actually coming up as a match is based on ethnicity. It's not because it's racist or cancer is racist or anything. It's more of a person's tissue type or HLA, human leukocyte antigen, that we're matching it with. And unfortunately, even though Be The Match, our registry is the most diverse in the world, it's not as diverse as we want it to be. For anyone who is Asian, they only have about a 40% to 47% chance of finding a match in the registry. And that isn't very good odds. For someone who's African American or Black, they only have about a 23% chance of finding a matching donor. And the reasons for it being is just there's not enough African American or Black individuals in the registry, nor is there enough Asians. If you want to look specifically for the Filipinos, that they only make about, I want to say 0.2% of the registry right now. So we definitely need a lot more people to join the registry.
Amazing. And I want to kind of put Filipino competitiveness to good use and be like, oi, there's only 0.2% in the registry right now. We're down in the numbers. What does it mean for us as a community to register? And I know I registered several years ago and I haven't been called to match, but it's such an important opportunity, I think, for us to, in a unique way, like you said, at a tissue level, at a cellular level, to be connected and be in community with each other. I'm wondering, like, as we're getting folks more into the registry, and I heard you also call in Black American folks and other Asian Pacific Islander folks, and maybe other communities of color, I wonder, like, so what happens? We sign up, and how does that match work? And what happens when you match?
So registration is actually pretty simple. We have the link in the chat. It's essentially join.betomatch.org/CureAJ. You fill out some information, asking you a few questions. We do ask people who are between the ages 18 to 44 to register and be in general good health. So essentially what that means is if you have had hepatitis B or C, HIV or AIDS, or have had a transplant of yourself, like a bone marrow transplant or stem cell transplant, or have had cancer that needed chemotherapy, these individuals not be able to join the registry, but we do hope that you will still share the need for people to join the registry. But if you're in general good health, you should be able to register. In about 3 to 5 days, you'll receive a envelope like this. And inside the envelope, it has a swab kit. A swab kit will come in this little cool green placard with instructions on how to swab and register. So you'll find inside the kit these swabs. You'll label them like I already did so. Take one out, swab the inside of your cheek for about 5 to 10 seconds, and then you'll stick it onto the placard and use another swab to swab the other side of your cheek for 5 to 10 seconds. You'll stick it back into the mail. These envelopes are already pre-postage, so you don't have to worry about stamps. I don't even know how much stamps are these days, but you don't have to worry about that because we already got that covered. And you'll just mail it back to us, and you kind of just sit and wait. I myself have been registered for about 12 years now. I really want to donate, but I can't because I'm not a match to anyone. You actually have to be a match in order to be called to donate. We don't have you donate automatically and have it sit in the bank. Unfortunately, that's not something that we have right now, but we are in development of that. But our goal is to get more people to join the database. There's about a 1 out of 430 chance of you actually coming up as a match. And if you are identified as a matching donor, you're essentially the only person that could help that individual. Because with the matching process, we look at a person's family first, and the chance of a person coming up as a match within their own family is only about 30%. So for you to be identified as a matching donor, you're pretty much the only hope for that patient. So we do hope that you commit and following through with the donation process. So when I say donation process, people automatically say, hey, Chris, I saw it on Grey's Anatomy, I saw it on Ladder 49, the movie with 7 pounds, Will Smith. I know exactly how bone marrow donation is. And they're like, I don't want to do it because it's scary. And I'm like, hold up. That is not the case. Once you're identified as a match, 77% of the time, you'll be asked to donate stem cells. How that process works is 5 days prior to your actual scheduled donation date, you'll receive an injection called filgrastim. Filgrastim is basically going to be moving your bone marrow into the bloodstream and helping your body produce more stem cells. So you're actually donating in excess. And you'll receive an injection 1 shot a day for 5 days. And on the 5th day will be your actual donation date. You'll go into the transplant center, sit in a big comfy chair, and they'll link you to the machine from one line to the machine. The machine will draw a little bit of blood at a time. It'll spin it around really fast, separating the stem cells from your blood. And what's not collected will be going back into your system. So one line in and another line out or back into your body. And if the stem cells is collected and then transported to the patient wherever they are. It could be locally here in the US, or it could be international. So a part of you could actually be traveling internationally. So after you donate, you'll feel a little bit lethargic and a little tired. Afterwards, the donation process is about 4 to 6 hours, depending on the individual. But you get to bring a friend with you, a family member. And if you're asked to travel either locally or to another state, we'll cover those expenses as well. We'll try to make it as easy as possible for the donor to actually go through the donation process. So if there's lost wages, we will cover that. If there is a need for childcare, be the national cover that. And different things along the way will help with scheduling and communicating with your work to make sure that you're able to get the time off if needed. So all that is included with becoming a donor. The next thing I want to talk about is bone marrow donation. Again, not as scary as people think it is. Please don't run away. How that process works is you're under general anesthesia, so there is no pain involved. Again, no pain. Marrow is extracted from the hip bone using a specialized syringe. It's a 1 to 2 hour procedure. You're able to go home the same day. For about a week or so, it just feels like you bumped a corner of the table, so you're a little sore. Or some people have said that it's like you accidentally slipped on ice and fall on your butt. And that soreness typically people will feel for about 1 or 2 weeks. But you're able to go back to your normal routine within about 1 to 7 days. Bone marrow will naturally regenerate within 4 to 6 weeks. So it's not like you're donating an organ or anything like that. So yeah, again, not as scary as people think it is. Yeah.
No matter what we've seen on Grey's Anatomy.
Right.
Actually, when you said that, I was like, oh, I remember that episode.
Yeah. It's not like everything we see on TV is real. So.
I so appreciate you, Chris, kind of breaking that down, because I think for some people, they're like, well, I'm only swabbing, but then what? Like, what happens? So I really appreciate you kind of walking us through that. And just to amplify one more time, I know we're going to get a chance in a few minutes to meet somebody who's actually been a match and been a donor. And so we're going to hear, after you explain to us what could happen, we're going to get a chance to hear from somebody who actually went through that. I wonder, as we wrap up our time with you today, I wonder if there's one other thing that you might want to help our audience watching today understand. Is there one other final kind of nugget of hope and reminder that we want to leave folks with today?
I think for me, what comes to mind is another patient that we are helping as well. Her name is Melissa, 37 years old, just such a loving mother of 3 beautiful daughters and a loving wife. And they're looking for someone to join the registry and come up as a matching donor for them. Along with AJ, they are really looking for help. But I think in this day and age, in the world that we live in now, we get the opportunity to be the hope for people. And simply by being who we are right now, we could save someone's life that no one else could possibly do so. Like you literally could be a match with someone and you're pretty much the only person that could help. That is wonderful, I think, to not have some sort of extra requirement to help someone else live a fuller, happier life outside of their diagnosis. So I really do hope that people who see this and watch will want to register and encourage their friends and family to register. Yeah.
Amazing. And will you give us that website one more time for folks who are just joining us or clicking in, thinking about it? How do we join again?
Yeah, so the website is join.bethematch.org/pureaj.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Chris. And I know we'll kind of be able to ask you questions a little bit later. And I'm seeing some love and appreciation from Erica in the chat. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us, Chris. We really appreciate it. And I just want to say thanks locally in SoCal to A3M. So appreciate all the work they're doing, and all of you in the Be the Match network. I know it's a really important registry for folks here in the United States, and even I have a friend who is in Spain, and her daughter's also looking for a match, and we've been talking about how this registry is vital. And I appreciate what you said, Chris. You actually have the power with whatever's already inside of you. You already come predisposed to help change somebody else's life. And what a gift and what a blessing. And we hope that folks will consider joining us today on this. So I want to say thank you so much to Chris. We might see you a little bit later today. We're so glad to have you. I want to invite folks, if you haven't already, there's probably some links in your chat, either here in the Zoom room or folks on the Facebook Live, or if you're watching us on the rebroadcast. We do want to encourage you, go ahead and click on that link, request a kit. You might be the match for somebody, for another kababayan, another kapatid here in the Philam community who has been searching. We've had a chance to hear from Eric and Maria, AJ's parents, about what it means for them to have their miracle baby seeking this next process so he can live a vibrant and happy life. Already excited to connect to people. And we've had a chance to hear from the parents and AJ, for AJ. We've heard from Chris about Be the Match and what that means at an organizational level. And now we're going to have a chance, as I mentioned earlier, to be able to talk to somebody who actually went through this process, who was a match and who was able to give. So I want to welcome to our conversation today, Brian Bello. And Brian, do you pronounce it Bello or Bello?
Bello, Bello.
Bello. Thank you, Bello. I feel like I should be all Filipino about it, you know. But because I feel like that's, so I just want to honor Brian Bello is here, as he's going to share a little bit of his experience about Be the Match program. So I just want to say hello and welcome, Brian. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor.
Totally.
Yeah.
Will you tell us a little bit about how you got connected to Be the Match? Like, how did you sign up? Did you sign up from a drive like this, or did you sign up at an event? How did that happen?
It was at an event. It was in Oxnard. I went to some Filipino fiesta over there, and one of my friends was helping get some recruits or whatever. So I was like, okay, no problem. And she told me like how the Filipino numbers were really low, and I was like, nah, you know, being a Filipino, you know, you have that pride, like you were saying before. You have that pride. You want to represent and, you know, do your best, you know. So I did my thing, and then that was like early 2000s. And I didn't get called until 2014. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Like March.
So so you were on the registry, and I heard Chris say he's been on the registry for a while. So you were on the registry for about 14 years. You remembered that you had done it. I guess when you first got that reach out and that call, did you remember you had signed up? Was it like, oh, I forgot? Like, how did that go out for you?
Honestly, I kind of forgot, but I was like, I guess I signed up. It's fine, whatever. You know, and, it's exciting, you know, because I know how rare it is to get called. So you feel kind of special, especially at that time, because like that day, actually, I had just got laid off from work. And I was just getting stuff, like, you know, from the office or whatever. And we're like driving home. My wife was driving, and I was just like bummed out, and I get this call. So it just, you know, you forget about what's going on, and you're like, oh, you have a different focus. You're like, I'm going to save somebody's life right now. And it's exciting. So I was hyped right away.
And then, so once you got that call, because I know I saw in the chat, like part of AJ's family said they matched twice, but they never got to be a donor. And so you got all the way through the match process to the donation part. And I wonder if you could just talk a little bit about, was it scary when you actually finally sat down to donate? Was the hype just super helpful, and the adrenaline helped you kind of do it? Take us through that process.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know if you've seen the video that I posted like a while ago. I talked about my process.
Awesome.
And the whole thing was once I got that call, I was so hyped. I was like, look, I'm gonna give this kid the best like I got. So like from that point on, I started working out and everything, and it just changed my whole mentality. So by the time like it came to the time to donate or whatever, I lost like 10, 20 pounds or something like that, and I was in good shape, and they told me like what I had to do. I was like, whatever. You know, at first I was supposed to do the bone marrow. They were gonna fly me somewhere and do the bone marrow, but then it got really urgent. I guess something had happened, so it got really urgent. So they said we're just gonna do the stem cells, but we had to drive down to La Jolla. And the funny thing is, when they changed the whole process, the date that I was supposed to donate was actually my wedding anniversary.
Oh wow! Wow, life events in this whole process for you then.
Yeah, so that's why this whole thing is so memorable for me. It's you know, it's not what I did, but it was also like the whole circumstance around it. Like everything was going on in my life, and I was like, it's all right because there's something a little bit more important, you know, that was happening.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I haven't seen that video yet, but maybe we can post it in the chat or in the Facebook Live rebroadcast spot, so that folks can also see particularly your journey in the giving if they have any you know, not sure or trepidation about giving, about signing up for the registry. So you, and I just also heard you say like you got let go from a job and the day was really sad, and then all of a sudden you figured out you were able to connect to this deeper life gift of,
right,
it doesn't matter about your job, you were able to help somebody. And so just so happy to hear about that journey. I wonder, did you ever get to meet your recipient? Have you had to
Yes.
talk with them?
A year later, they had an event where I got to meet him. He was a 19-year-old boy. Originally he's from the Philippines, but I guess the day that he flew into Hawaii, like he moved to Hawaii, the day that he flew there, that's when he found out he was sick and he had leukemia and everything. It's like so much went on. I was like, oh, that's crazy, you know. And you know, what are you gonna do? You know, it's like people always ask, like, why are you doing this? I was like, there's always someone that's in a worse position than you're in, you know. Like they're worried about like the pain, you know, like, oh, it's gonna hurt. It's like that's like one time compared to like what this guy's going through. He's like, this is life. It fails in comparison, really.
Yeah. And it just reminds me of that Filipino value of like kapwa, or like shared being. Like we are all interconnected, you know. And so the fact that, you know, I appreciate your story because it also feels very cinematic. And I think there's something really, and it heightens the stakes of real life, I guess, for me as a writer and as a creator. Is sometimes in theater we try to figure out like what are the stakes of a play or what are the stakes of a movie, and it's like this has real life stakes. It's the life of this 19-year-old guy that you helped save. It's the life of baby AJ, who we're here to talk about today. It's the life of Melissa, who I heard Chris talk about, or Clara Jane, who I am also thinking about and supporting right now. So it is about the lives of these folks. And I really appreciate the energy and the connection and the broader sense of what you were able to sense and get back. I think sometimes also when you think about the donation as the donor, I think some people I've heard people say like, well, it's going to burden me. It's all about burdening me so I can help them. And I feel like from your story today, Brian, you really helped me understand like, no, we get a gift if we get to be a donor. And I wonder, as we close out this time with you, if there's any, like one last thing you might want to say to somebody who's kind of on the fence, is like, yeah, I've seen the link, I don't know, like, I kind of want to do good, but I'm just not quite there. Is there any last message that you might want to say to that person, that Philam who might be on the fence, or maybe not even Philam, like a friend or family member, non-Filipino? What would you say?
I mean, from my own experience, I mean, all I can say is, I mean, like everyone's scared about the pain and everything, and like, you know, like the shots that Chris was talking about prior to the whole process, where they increase your stem cells and whatnot. Honestly, if you've ever worked out like really hard, you get that soreness. That's what it is. That's me. That's what it was. I was like, oh, I'm kind of sore in my hips because they said that's where it's gonna be like really the sorest. And I was like, yeah, it was sore in my back and my hip a little bit, but I was like, whatever. I'm a dancer. I work out sometimes, so it's like that's no big deal for me. You get over it, just like all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Time heals,
Yeah. And it's and I'm deeply grateful that like, yeah, your body is able to heal back. And I heard you say like in this process, you also worked out a lot. So you lost a little bit of weight and you're able to get your own personal body
change your mentality, really.
Yeah. Before I let you go, I just gotta give props to that image behind you. What's up, Run DMC? Like I've been looking at it the whole time.
It was actually done by a Filipino artist in the Bay Area named Eric Bailey, I believe.
Awesome. Shout out to Eric Bailey and of course to Run DMC. So great.
Yay.
Thank you so much, Brian, for talking to us. We're gonna share some more. And we just want to remind folks, if you're inspired by Brian's story and you want to help step up and see how being a donor might change your life, we invite you to go to join.bethematch.org/cureaj today. Thank you so much, Brian. We might have you stick around a little bit.
Yeah.
Super exciting to talk to you. And now I just kind of want to open it up for questions. We have Chris and Brian still here. I think AJ's family's gone back into the hospital to visit with AJ. And I'm wondering if any folks have questions in the chat. But as I guess kind of started, I'm trying to welcome back Chris and Brian together. I see a question from Feli in our chat. Maybe this goes to Chris. Chris, do you know if during the pandemic, is that impacting people's ability to donate?
So when COVID hit, there was a lot of uncertainty in how we're going to get people to join the registry. We really had to learn to adapt right now. So Zoom was kind of the new thing, going online, going to virtual events, and just making the plea into the community. For those who have been identified as matching donors and asked to donate, we've had a few friends that have donated during the pandemic of A3M, and they've said that we've kept every process safe. We try our best to not have them travel like from state to state, because as Brian mentioned, there may be sometimes we may be asking you to travel to Washington, D.C. to donate bone marrow. I have a friend who actually donated bone marrow and traveled to Washington, D.C. pre-pandemic. But we'll find a local donor center in your area or transplant center in your area for you to go donate. Everything is done in the hospital or hospital setting, so everyone has their own proper PPEs. We ask you to have a mask on. There is going to be a health screening for you prior to you donating. So we're going to keep you safe as best as we can during the process of you going through the donate as you go to donate. What's amazing is we just found out that fortunately the cure has not stopped, meaning that people have donated, but we've had a team at Be The Match who've been nonstop still curing transplants to patients who need it across the world. So it was really cool seeing this team of pilots band together to help carriers get to where they need to go. So yeah, like things are still going. Transplants are still happening, but mainly the huge slowdown is actually the people joining the registry, because we're still under lockdown. So we need more people to join the database.
And it sounds like with Brian's experience, he was at a Filipino festival in Oxnard. And so I know in my experience of community-based events and festivals, that's often where I met A3M and Be The Match folks, was out at events trying to get folks registered. So maybe I wonder, Chris, if there are folks who wanted to host like a campaign in their email or maybe a Zoom party for friends to kind of get folks, since festivals and stuff are on pause right now, is that something that that we could help them connect to you about, or should they reach out to the Be The Match folks? What do you think is I know this is like on the fly question, but The organizer in me is like, how do we help people connect?
No, I love that. You could reach out to me.
Okay.
My email is chen@a3mhope.org, and I'll put it into the chat.
Amazing. Thank you so much for putting that out, Chris. And I know I'm hearing from SoCal Filipinos team that the link to sign up to be the match to be on the cure list to get your swab kit in this campaign for Cure AJ is in the Facebook chat as well. And also the video, AJ's family was able to find that great video, Brian, you talked about. And so that's getting posted as well. And we're gonna thank everybody for sharing that, and for Chris, for you to share your email. Brian, a question for you in the chat. Folks are wondering, how long did your soreness last? I know you talked about it was in your hips. And we heard a little bit from Chris about the estimation, but for you personally, how did that impact your body as a former dancer and somebody who did this work?
Honestly, it wasn't, I'm not really sure how long it took, because I mean, I've like, even before this whole process, I was already kind of sore just from like workouts or like different moves or whatever that I was doing at the time, breakdancing.
Hey.
So, yeah, so like, you know, soreness kind of is a common thing with me. So I mean, maybe that's why it didn't really pay that much mind to me. You know, I wasn't really paying that much attention, but I wouldn't say like longer than a week, really. I don't know.
Okay. And it doesn't sound like it was like a debilitating or like a lay down kind of soreness. And then the new question is like, did it amplify your soreness, or do you think it just was part of your, it sounds like it didn't feel amplified. It was just like, it was just sore.
Honestly, I felt a little bit more than normal, but I mean, it still wasn't excruciating, you know. I was still able to do stuff. I wasn't laying in bed, you know, with ice packs on me or something.
Totally. And you said you drove down to La Jolla to do this process?
Well, it was awesome because they paid for a room because they knew it was our anniversary. So we're like, okay, we're just gonna spend like a night there, and it was really nice. It was really beautiful. I couldn't do a whole lot because I had to get things.
Yes.
But still, you know, it was awesome. It was beautiful.
I just appreciate hearing a story about how you and your wife spent an anniversary, like giving the gift of life to somebody else. Like that's really amazing and gorgeous. And so I'm just so appreciative again. And
it's funny, people talk about like inconvenient, like, oh, it's an inconvenience. I don't know what's more inconvenient than like your, you know, kind of like not celebrating your wedding anniversary and you're getting laid off, you know. It's like, what are you gonna do? You know, there's someone that's kind of dying, you know.
Yeah. And I appreciate that invitation right now, especially there's so many different impacts happening right now with folks being impacted by pandemic, by communities standing up against you know, police brutality and folks taking to the streets in mass and trying to like articulate the better world that they want. And I just appreciate this opportunity to think about how this simple act of the 2 swabs actually opens the door of possibility, hope, and life, right? For this 19-year-old person, that recipient for you, to this potential person, Melissa, that Chris talked about, to Clara Jane, to AJ, who we're here today to talk about. So I just want to say thank you again to Brian and Chris for joining us to think about this. For everybody who's watching, just remember, I would say, kind of connected to those words of, I believe it's W.E.B. Du Bois, each one reach one, each one teach one. How do we make a personal impact so that we can demystify the story? And now that I've heard your story, Brian, and AJ's story, and Chris's story, I feel like I want to continue to remind people that gift is easily, you know, the first step of it is to register and to get into that registry and do the swabs and just see what's possible. And even know that, you know, folks have been waiting. I heard Chris say he waited, he's been on the registry for a while, and you, Brian, 14 years before the actual thing came. So what you do right now could actually save someone's life in the future. And we want to think long like that, but we're also in this immediate place of thinking about this little person named AJ, who is in a hospital right now, who is looking for a match. And so I just want to say thank you so much to Brian, to Chris, to AJ's family for joining us. I want to pump one more time. If you've been hearing this and you're thinking about it, don't think no more. Just go and register. Get the pack in the mail. Do the double swab and send it back. The postage is already paid for. You don't got to put any kind of stamp on it. You just got to put it back in that envelope. So we want to say go to join.bethematch.org/cureaj today to help us, to get you signed up, to get you your package, so that you can help us figure out if you might be a match that'll help save little AJ, or someone else who's waiting for a marrow match worldwide. I want to just say thank you to everybody who's joined us today. Deeply, deeply, deeply thankful again to AJ's family, Eric and Maria. To little AJ, I just asked everybody to send really good vibes to little AJ today. Thank you to Chris Chen, thank you to Brian Bello, and our host, SoCal Filipinos. I'm so grateful. And I'm Alison De La Cruz. It's been my deep honor to be your host today. And I just want to encourage you, we each have an opportunity to touch somebody's life, and what gift it could be right now in this moment, to give a family hope, to give a child their next set of adventures beyond a hospital. That's why I wanted to join this today. I hope that all of you will consider joining us one more time, join.bethematch.org/cureaj. Sign up there, get your swab kit, send it back, because you could not only save AJ's life, but maybe Melissa, maybe CJ, maybe somebody else. Thank you so much for coming, joining us today. We hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. It's a beautiful day in November, and much love and greetings from SoCal Filipinos. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alison, Brian, Chris, AJ's family. On behalf of SoCal Filipinos, we're just so deeply honored to have this opportunity to share this out to our community. Just like Alison had mentioned, this is an opportunity to help continue support a life of one of our Philam community members. So on the chats, on the channels, you saw we posted Brian's video. So that was a great video. Chris, thank you so much for providing your information. We're going to share that out to the community. Again, join.bethematch.org/cureaj. We just hope that this can activate our community in SoCal or throughout California and internationally. So you never know, you might be the match. I hope I've registered. I hope one of these days I will be as fortunate as you, Brian, to match with somebody. So again, thank you so much, everyone. We just want to thank our host, Alison, Brian, Chris, AJ's parents, Maria and Eric. We're just so happy for this opportunity. So thanks, everybody, and we hope you have a wonderful Sunday.